Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Seconds. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
What's up, Cavs fans? Welcome to another edition of the Block the Shot Stop. Here with me, as always, is Skylar Webker, and then special guest, returning guest, Jason Patt of Cash Considerations, the Chicago Bulls podcast. Since we thought it'd be a good time to have Jason back on, since we're about to start a doubleheader. The NBA all of a sudden does doubleheaders. It's very weird. Tomorrow night in Chicago. So, Jason, first of all, thanks for joining.
Yes, thanks for having me back. Great to talk about two just wonderful basketball teams and this thrilling doubleheader we're about to see.
I was looking around the NBA today and thinking, like, are these two or the two most disappointing teams when you compare expectations versus reality? Obviously the Bulls, I remember listening to your preseason podcast, you were like, they got a lot of talent. I could see them like being a fringe playoff team, 5-6 seed, something like that. Some things go well, and then obviously hasn't gone well. We thought the Cavs are going to be a class of the East, or at least top 2 seed in the East. They're sitting in the Bulls, the Bulls traditional spot, the play-in right now, and not going well. So before we get into like actually previewing the games, how these teams match up, I figured the best thing to do for our listeners who probably watch some Bulls but not a lot, like, why don't you give us a little bit of the Cliff Notes version of how this Bull season has gone so far?
Yeah, so like in terms of like expectations, like if you told me before the year they were 10-15 after 25 games, I'd probably, and like looking at like their early schedule, I'd be like, sure, that sounds about right. Like it wouldn't even be that bad. But the fact that they are 10-15 after starting 5-0, and then they were also 6-1 after like one of the most insane comebacks in the year against the Sixers, they got to 6-1, and since then since the 5-0 start, they're 5-15 because they're 10-15. And they have their 24th in net rating, which is like minus 5 points something. So they're legit bad. Like their last out of these, since they started 5-0, they've gone 5-15. Those 5 wins, they've won by a total of 10 points. So like they could be easily worse because they've squeezed a few close games out of their butt with some like Nikola Vucevic game winners. So like there was so much hype after those first 5 games, and after that Sixers comeback got them to 6-1. Like, oh my god, like the Bulls, like. One of my podcasts, like we had one of our recurring guests on, Stefano, writes for Sporting News, and we were like, oh, like they could be a 4 seed this year. Like they could really be for real. We got suckered. We got hoodwinked. They stink. They're probably, I still think they're going to finish with the 10 seed. Milwaukee right now is the 10th spot. The Bulls are like a half a game behind them. The Bucks are obviously just a complete dumpster fire with Giannis' injury and Giannis trade rumors. Will Giannis get traded in season? Who knows? But the Bucks stink too. So like, the Bulls are they're always destined for like the 9 or 10 spot, and they're right around there now. Like, do I think they're as bad as like they've been these last like 20 games, 5-15 with just an awful net rating, like legitimately one of the 5 worst teams in the league? They're probably not that bad. They've had some injuries. Old friend Isaac Okoro missed a bunch of time with a weird injury. They've had some other injuries too. They've gotten a little healthier, but I guess they really haven't gotten much better yet because they just lost the Pelicans for the second time this year. They've lost to the Pacers a couple times. Their last they were just on a 7-game losing streak, which ended by them barely beating the Hornets. Although I know the Cavs just lost to the Hornets and didn't score in overtime against them. So like the Bulls also lost to the Hornets earlier this year too, but they easily could have lost that game. They were down like 13 in the third quarter. They needed a big fourth quarter to win that game. So again, like they are getting embarrassed routinely. They lost by like almost 40 to the Warriors and the Heat, and then an NBA Cup game against the Heat, both on their home court. They are losing to the Pelicans, the Pacers, the Hornets, the Nets, like all these bad teams. Like, so after the hot start, like where they beat good teams, they beat the Pistons on opening night. They beat the Hawks. They beat the Magic. They beat the Knicks. They beat the Sixers. They beat all these good teams, and like they had the stretch of the schedule, and they beat the Nuggets too somehow in Denver. Like what the heck was that? And they were like sitting at 9-7 after they beat the Nuggets and they beat the Blazers on a Nikola Vucevic game winning 3. I was like, all right, they got this easy part of the schedule coming up. They could feast on that and maybe build up a cushion. Nope. Again, since then they're 1-8 and they're 10-15 now. And they're close to a bottom 5 team overall if you look at like net rating. So they just kind of stink. And I want ownership. I want them to clean house. It's not going to happen, or like fire their front office. They could fire Billy Donovan too. Whatever. I don't think Billy's the problem, but it's just been a really rough watch after a really fun start. And while I knew some of the fun start was very lucky, and like if you look under the hood, it was like they're catching a lot of breaks here with some of this stuff, but I still thought that they were playing well overall. And again, injuries have played a factor here, but they're not good. When you're 25 games into a season and you have a net rating that's -5, like you're not a good team. Like even if they start playing a little better here, they're destined for like the spot they usually are, assuming that they keep just trying to win. Like they'll end up probably the 10 seed or not, maybe the 9 seed. Like the East is looking a little better. I know there's like a lot of decent teams, but not many great teams. Right now, the Bulls are bad. So like that's just kind of where they're at.
Yeah. Now, Skylar, I'll bring you in. Obviously, outside of some of the specifics, it sounds I feel like the sentiments around the Cavs are kind of similar, maybe a little bit like maybe a step or two down, yeah, but maybe not. Also, I mean, there's people all over, Cavs fans all over the internet that are calling for Kenny Atkins's job and saying they need to make all these trades that are impossible to make because of they're in the second apron, like all this crazy stuff. But obviously, we don't need to cliff notes. We talk about the Cavs all the time, but like, I feel like it's kind of some of the same sentiments,
The same.
Cleveland. Yeah.
It's the same. They go out there and they beat the Spurs and they look great doing it and talk. You're like, all right, they're going to start catching some momentum. And then they lose to the Warriors G League team on their home court. No Jimmy Butler, no Steph Curry, no Draymond Green. And it's the same just frustration of like, all right, yeah, maybe they can do it. Now, granted, we're at 15-12, so a little bit different of a story, but it's just like they can't catch momentum. They can't capture whatever they did last year. And the East is looking like it's up to anybody at this point. Like you thought the Cavs were going to be the runaway favorites, and they're sitting at the 7th seed. They're in the play-in right now.
Yeah, and we'll get into a little bit on both sides, the Cleveland and Chicago, kind of in preparation for the previewing the games. But Jason, I told you, I prefaced this that I had something for you. I needed to bring back up, unfortunately, from the last time you were on. You were on over the summer. We had you on right after the Lonzo Ball for Isaac Okoro trade, and you were saying like you guys totally ripped us off. Lonzo's going to be great for you. Why did they take it? And some of it was like the contracts. Isaac has more guaranteed years and money on his contract. But aside from that, I have some stats I want to share with you, or really just like kind of putting in perspective the Lonzo Ball offensive year that he's had for the Cavs.
It's been offensive.
I looked it up. I looked it up, and I compared Lonzo's stats to the worst team in the league, not the NBA league, college basketball, the Mississippi State Valley Fighting Bulldogs, I think. On that team, Lonzo would have the 8th best field goal percentage out of 10 qualifying players, the 6th best 3-point percentage on the absolute worst team in college basketball. He has been so terrible shooting the ball. And I understand some people are like, he does a lot of things to help you win. I don't disagree with that. But in today's NBA, you can't have a 0 on offense and do that. So any thoughts on Lonzo? Are you surprised he's struggling as much as he is?
I mean, yeah, that bad. When I looked, I knew he had been struggling, and then I looked today, like just knowing what's coming on this pod to like see what the exact numbers were, and I was like, oh my god, he's like shooting like 29% overall, like 25% from 3. I think so far in December he's like 15% from 3 or something like that. Just something just truly offensive.
Worse.
Yeah, like it's just that's unbelievable. Like I know obviously he's had the fact that he came back and looked pretty good for the Bulls. He did not shoot great for the Bulls last year. He was decent from 3 overall.
Yeah,
I mean, he's never been like that a good player like inside the arc in terms of offense. So like he's always like the fact that he developed his 3-point shot was such a big part of why he was effective when he actually was healthy 4 years ago for the Bulls now. So now that his 3-point shot is also dead, like brutal. Like I know he's still a pretty good passer. I think he's averaging like 4 or 5 assists per game off the bench.
Yeah,
and he plays good defense still. But yeah, I mean when you are shooting that low percentage from 3 and under, I mean an NBA player shooting under 30% from the field in general is just straight up embarrassing. It's like I am definitely surprised it was that bad because I know like, and last year he had weird stuff going on like separate from the knee thing that obviously like almost ended his career. And he came back and he looked pretty good for the Bulls last year. And it was kind of surprising that how good he did look. And then he had the weird, I think, like wrist thing that cost him a bunch at the end of last year. But and maybe that's like messing with him now too. I have no idea exactly what's going on. He's just had a very bizarre career with all these weird injuries he's had. And yeah, like ultimately, I'm definitely surprised he's shot this bad. Like I would hope that he'll get better at some point shooting. I mean, he was a really good shooter back in the day, and he was decent 3-point shooter last year for the Bulls. Like, but man, yeah, I mean, you do look at those shooting percentages, and it's like, oh, like well, this is terrible. Like, I mean, right now that trade in general is, I feel like, working out terribly for both teams. Like, but like I don't like watching Isaac Okoro play basketball. And he's had a weird injury stuff. Like his numbers are like he's not that bad. Like he's shooting, I think 45% overall. He's 33% from three. He's averaging like 8-4 and he's basically another Patrick Williams. They're both similar numbers and like. And
whoa! Be nicer to our guy.
Patrick Williams is worse. Although Patrick Williams is somehow shooting well from three this year. He's shooting better from 3 than 2 this season, which is hilarious. He's one of the worst two. I mean, him and Lonzo are both like 2 of the worst 2-point shooters, but Patrick Williams is also like 6'7" in a trunk. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, that trade has not gone well so far for either team. And yeah, it's tough. Like I said, Lonzo, all credit to Lonzo for the comeback that he did make from like unprecedented knee surgery, pretty much. But you have to wonder if he's just done after this season. Because you just can't be a point guard and be shooting like that in the NBA, or anybody is shooting like that in the NBA.
Well, the other part that's so bad, and I'll turn to Skylar in a second, but he not only is he shooting so bad from 3, as you alluded to, he can't really go to the basket anymore. He's averaging like exactly 2 drives a game, which I have a theory that if you play 25 minutes a night, you could trip twice and end up in the lane and get that statistic. And Skylar, if you have any leftover Lonzo thoughts to empty, I know you've emptied a lot of them on a couple of podcasts. Skylar's personally offended by this. His best bet before the season was Lonzo Ball for 6th man of the year. Ooh, so
yikes. More like 60th man of the year.
Maybe.
The fact that Lonzo Ball has taken 127 field goal attempts and 104 of them have been 3-pointers is offensive. Like that is an offensive number for a guy that can't shoot.
But he might know what he's doing. I don't know. I'll put the clip in after the fact. But I've never seen an NBA player brick a lab before until he did it a couple of nights ago. And Jason, I'll send it to you if you missed the highlight. But he legitimately had a wide open lab that he smoked off the backboard to the point it didn't even hit the rim. I was like, I'm not in disbelief very often, but I was like, did that just happen? That guy had to have blocked it, right? He didn't look like he was close enough to block it, but that had to have happened.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So he might actually be doing the right strategy, Skylar, just not doing it well. So Jason, talk a little bit about, I guess, for the Bulls. I know you talk a lot about what's gone wrong, and we can certainly talk about that. What has gone right? What is going well for the Bulls on the season? I know Josh Giddey started out like gangbusters and it's cooled off a little bit lately, but like, is it him? Is it anything else that's actually, silver linings for this Bulls season?
I mean, again, they started so hot, and that was one of the reasons why like it was somewhat skeptical, because it was like half the rotation was like shooting like career highs. Like Vooch was playing like he was like 28. Giddey was off to an awesome start, and they did that without Kobe White too at the start of the year. And like I Sumo was great. Io might play tomorrow. He's playing right now with multiple sprained thumbs and like a bone bruise. Like he's basically playing with no hands, I guess. But like he's also been really good before like this injury stuff. And then like a bunch of their role guys were playing great too. Like Kevin Huerter was playing really great. And like Trey Jones was great. Patrick Williams even got off to a great start before he turned into him and Lonzo Ball were the 2 worst rotation players in the NBA. But since then, yeah, there really has not been much good at all. Like Giddey has had a pretty good season overall. Not as good as he was like the last couple months of last year, but pretty good. I mean, there was one point he was almost averaging a triple-double and like pretty efficient. His 3-point shooting has still been pretty good. The last like week or two, though, he's had a few pretty ugly clunkers that have not been good. Again, the whole vibe of the team has just been awful the last month and a half. And yeah, but like besides that, like there have been like some decent performances here and there. Like Zach Collins came back from injury and was basically the reason why they beat the Hornets the other night. Kevin Herter just came back and had a decent game, and he's been fine. Like Trey Jones does some like they have all these like decent players who like have like decent games here and there, but again, you can't like rely on these guys to be shooting like playing way above their head all the time. Like that's what they did at the end of last season, and that's what they did to start the season. And now they're kind of just like settling back into, hey, like these guys are role players, and like they have some nice games, and they have some bad games, and they're up and down. That's how role players usually are. And the Bulls just have a ton of role players, and like there's top level guys just aren't that good. Like Giddey's pretty good. He's better than I expected. He's turned that trade into, I'm not going to say a win, but like maybe not as huge of a loss. Like Alex Caruso basically won the Thunder a championship, but I can't complain too much about Josh Giddey at this point. I'm like a Josh Giddey hater. I hated the trade, hated how he started last season, but he's gotten a lot better. I'll give him that credit. But yeah, past that, like Io's been pretty solid. He's been really good this season in contract year. Modest Bazelis has been disappointing. So he's been fine, but like he's been stagnated. His minutes have been kind of coming down a bit. Vooch started great, but now he's been awful for the last month, and he clearly doesn't want to be there anymore. Literally, there was an article that came out in the Chicago Tribune that was like, what, like Vooch asked himself, like, why am I here at this point? Like, what am I doing here? Like, we're at that point for him. So yeah, like you go up and down the roster, and it's like there's just not that much where you can be like, yeah, like this is great. Like Kobe's been awful shooting the ball. Like I'm sure he'll get hot at some point because Kobe's always been pretty streaky, but like he's been dealing with multiple calf injuries too. Like he had the calf that came out at the start of the year. He comes back, and then like his other calf got hurt, and I think he's just dealing with this calf stuff. So like, yeah, there's just not much going right now. I mean, when you're 5-15 again in your last 20 games, that's basically a quarter of a season. And I don't have their net rating in front of me over those games, but it's awful, and their defense is awful. And again, the games they've won, they've barely squeaked out. So it's like, and Kobe even admitted it in an article the other today. I saw that, like, yeah, like like we have to grind out games. Like we're not going to be blowing anybody out. And like Billy Donovan's talked about how they don't have that much talent. Like we're not that different from like the Pelicans and the Pacers. Like we have to play desperate every night. Billy's been very open about like crapping on the roster. I don't know if it's him like covering his ass, like so he doesn't get fired. Maybe the front office gets fired instead. I don't know, but like I said, it has been very bad for a while. It's like I really can't say many good things about what's been going on because it has not been good.
No, we love the brutality, and just to I guess close that for you. Their net rating in the last 5 games is a little over -12. The last 10 and last 20, ironically, are both -8. So you're
the bottom 5 team.
Yeah, for sure. So Skylar, I mean, I think the problems with the Cavaliers are a little bit different. You can absolutely say injuries are a big part of the Cavs season. The fact that they've had 3 guys or more out virtually every game, it is a real thing. But otherwise, I think the guys they thought they were going to rely on the most, many of them have been disappointing, playing below expectations. I mean, for a while it was Evan Mobley. He finally kind of stabilized.
Now he's hurt.
Then it was DeAndre. Yeah, now he's hurt, and then now it's DeAndre Hunter, Darius Garland, who's also other than really Mitchell, it's really been Mitchell, and then the young guys playing above their heads that has even got them to a winning record. What's maybe your, I guess, biggest frustration or something? I mean, I know we aired a lot of them, but we join in with Jason here. If you had to put your finger on one thing, do you have one thing you would put it on?
I don't know if mine is player specific at all. Obviously, some guys are just playing like booty cheeks, and other guys are doing all right. But it's the fact that this team was supposed to be the number 1 seed again, going to the finals, getting out of the East. They went all in on this team. They're in the second apron, so they cannot do anything to improve this team other than guys play better. Like it's the storylines and narratives around the Cavs season this year. Like, no offense, Jason, but as the Bulls, like you probably came into the season like, well, if they made it to the playoffs, that'd be great.
Correct.
We were like, we're going to be the 1 seed again. And it's just, we're nowhere even close. We're nowhere even close to what this team was last year.
Yeah. Like one of the few national basketball podcast I listen to is the Ringer NBA show. I actually really like those guys. And they said it well today. I mean, it's an old phrase, but like they said, the Cavs are lost at sea. For some reason, last year they worked in concert. Everything was going well. And even though there hasn't been a ton of roster churn or anything, like for what they just look lost. I mean, you saw like Darius Garland and Jared Allen are literally running into each other the last game. And we thought Darius had a concussion there for a minute from it. You see just like terrible spacing, like two guys ending up in the same spot and the ball's getting thrown to the other side of the court. And just
Evan Mobley hucking a full court shot with 10 seconds left in the shot clock.
Yeah, there's 10 seconds left in the quarter. No, in the quarter, there's 10 seconds left in the quarter, and he just shoots a 3/4 court shot. Like, yeah, they're just like kind of lost at sea. It's wild. Well, like bringing these two sad stories get to come together right at the United Center. I will be in attendance tomorrow. Jason, maybe I'll send you the Derrick Rose figurehead that I get from tomorrow.
Oh yeah, nice. One of the 5 D Rose nights.
Yes, I know. They are so good at like the Bulls are one of those that like we're not gonna like trick you guys by putting like a winning team on the court to get you to come. We're just gonna do cheap memorabilia in virtually every game of the season.
My podcast co-host Ricky O'Donnell basically called them after the loss to the Pelicans the other night. Like they're basically just like a nostalgia brand company, like merch company at this point. Because and I'm a sucker for it too. I own a ton of Bulls stuff. Like I own a ton of Bulls jerseys. I'm wearing obviously Bulls stuff right now. Like, because they have a bunch of cool stuff. Because obviously back in the day, like they won a bunch of championships and like they can do like cool nostalgia. And they have D Rose 5 D Rose nights. They've milked his jersey retirement for multiple years. Like. And that's how you could still sell the Chicago Bulls, even when the product on the court stinks.
Yeah.
You guys are making me feel bad because that sounds exactly like the Cincinnati Reds. Like, we're not here to put a winning team out there. Bobbleheads are our business.
Yeah, we'll just keep running out like big red machine guys until there's none of them left. So I guess I'll preface this for you, Jason, because I don't know how much you've really seen the Cavs this year. The Cavs, right now they struggle against everybody, but what they struggle against the most is teams that are long and athletic. Frankly, guys like Buzelis or something, or the frame of Patrick Williams, just a completely different frame and talent level. Yes, they typically struggle against longer, tall teams, especially now with Garland back. We always have our struggles defensively with Garland and Mitchell together, and you don't want either of them guarding like the best guard on the other team. So then you like rotate matchups around, so you end up having 2 mismatches on the court. Is there anything, I guess, about the Bulls other than Giddey's size and creativity, like that could potentially pose Cleveland problems, particularly where they often have problems?
I mean, the Bulls, I certainly wouldn't call the Bulls a long and athletic team. They've been getting crushed on the glass. I mean, like they're not physical. That's been a huge point of contention. They played. So Vooch called them soft after they barely beat the Wizards, just like the Wizards just barely beat the Wizards.
Vooch is the softest center in the NBA.
Yeah, I know. Right. Yeah. Vooch called them out, and then that was actually really funny. Vooch like had a big game and he called them soft. Then like Modest and like Jalen Smith were in the background like dancing around, like, and Vooch just got super pissed at them because they had just barely beaten the Wizards at home and they needed a big comeback for that one too. But yeah, I mean the Bulls again, they have a play style. They play fast. They try to get out in transition. But yeah, I mean they've been getting crushed on the boards, crushing the paint. They give up a ton of points in the paint. Mitchell, I mean, should have a field. I know, like the earlier matchup this year, I know the Bulls got out to a big lead, and then DeAndre Hunter broke Josh Giddey's ankles, and that kind of changed the game. And then Mitchell took over at the end, and the Cavs won a tight one there. Like Mitchell should be able to destroy the Bulls. Like I feel like he does all the time. And was it a couple of years ago where he put up like 70 points or 60 something?
71.
70, yeah, I think
like,
71.
Yeah, there was no reason like he shouldn't destroy them. Like I don't know if the Bulls will throw Goro on him, or it was Io. I don't know if he's going to play. Like Io does a decent job on those guys, but the Bulls defense generally stinks. Again, they don't protect the rim at all. They give up a ton of points in the paint. And like 3-point, like you get open 3-point shots against them. So like what in terms of like what them like taking advantage of the Cavs, like the Giddey thing will be interesting again because his size can pose a problem when he's aggressive. So like I'm sure we'll see some DeAndre Hunter on him. just to throw a bigger guy on. I mean, Garland's just too small. Donovan's just too small.
Yeah.
So like that could be a problem depending if Giddey has a big game. Like again, Vooch has been awful lately. So like, I mean, you'd think Jared Allen should be able to handle him. I know Jared Allen just came back. He's been hurt too, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's just so hard to say because the Bulls just have not done like anything well. Like they can't, again, they do move. When they're playing well, they can move the ball well. They push the pace. They can get out in transition. The Cavs need to make sure that they stop the transition game. If you stop the Bulls transition game, you're probably stopping their offense. They do drive and kick a lot. So you don't want to just like get sucked in too much on drives. Like they drive and kick a lot, but they don't have like great guys who can drive and finish. Like Giddey sometimes does and get to the line. Kobe's been getting to the line a decent amount. But I mean, they do. So they drive a ton. But I like wouldn't help too much. Like make them finish over you, and don't get in like rotation too much and get open. There's like last game the Bulls took a ton of threes, but they didn't make any. They've been shooting so poorly lately for the most part. Like it's just been a problem. Like Kobe went 1 of 10 from 3, but again, Kobe is a guy who can go off. So like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be in the business of giving Kobe wide open threes all day. Like at some point, he's probably going to start hitting them again. So. Yeah, the Cavs, they gotta like if the Cavs had Mobley still healthy, like I mean, Allen and Mobley would probably just destroy the Bulls inside the way they've been playing lately. So like the fact that Mobley is out is definitely helpful, very helpful for the Bulls. I mean, he's obviously a really good player in general, but like just that too big lineup, just the size with how the Bulls have been getting crushed with that on the glass, that'll help them. Again, like I would expect Mitchell to have a huge game. And then I mean Garland's just been so hurt and awful. Like I was looking at his numbers too, and like he's just been just a shell of himself. So like
Yeah.
when if those two guys are going well, like they should just slice and dice the Bulls defense because it's just not very good. They don't have many great point of attack defenders. But again, if Garland's really struggling and like Mitchell has generally been great, but I know it was the last game against the Hornets. I think he was not very good. Obviously, you can only ask him to carry so much. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, because both these teams just been struggling so much, and the Bulls have not. Their shot making just hasn't been great. Their offense, like the whole thing this year was like, oh, like the defense is probably going to stink, but like the offense can be fun. They push the pace. They can shoot threes, but like the offense has also been terrible lately. It's like they've been a bottom 5-ish offense over the last bit, and again, some of that's injuries, but they just haven't shot the ball as well either. And Kobe again is shooting sub 30% from 3, so. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you named the one thing I was going to bring up, Skylar, and I'll let you chime in on this as well, that the Bulls do like to get out and run and get in transition, and they're pretty good when they do it. And that is a concern from the Cavs side because I am saying the Cavs are the most ineffective 3-point shooting team in the league when you combine the fact that they shoot the most in the league per game. They're like almost 2 threes above second place. And they're 22nd in 22nd in actually hitting them in 3-point percentage. And so they're taking so many that are leading to so many long rebounds. Even though they don't turn the ball over enough, they brick so many threes that it leads to so many long rebounds. And that's how teams constantly seem to be out in transition against them. So like, is that kind of where your head went, Skylar, as far as like concerns with the Bulls, or was there anything else that maybe you thought of?
My concern was only Donovan Mitchell is the only person that drives and gets into the paint. Nobody else wants to get in there. Part of it is probably injury concern because Garland's not trying to go in there and get a floater or anything like that anymore. Lonzo Ball's not driving into the paint anymore. That's really the only guys shooting the ball are those kind of guys right now. And Jalen Tyson is getting in there a bit, but outside of Donovan Mitchell, yeah, there isn't anybody else getting in there to do the dirty work from the glass and the paint and anything like that. So that's a cause for concern because, like you said, Kevin, they are first in attempts, and I'm looking at the league stats right now. They're 28th in percentage.
Yeah, it's just keeps getting uglier. I'm glad I didn't refresh it. Yeah, it hasn't been good. I mean, the good for the Cavs so far this year, Jason, like the number one thing is Jalen Tyson. I don't know if you've seen the Cavs play him, but he's a second-year guy. He was a late first-round pick last year, played sparingly because they were so good. And then all of a sudden this year, he's turned in, to this point in the season, he has been their third best player behind Mobley and Mitchell. Like legitimately in in the last 30 days, he's averaging like 17 points and 9 rebounds. He's shooting 45% from 3 on the year. And he makes just winning plays all over the place. Deflections, steals, blocks, getting off big offensive rebounds. Is that somebody that do the Bulls have anybody like that? I don't know if they have. I honestly think even more than Mitchell, like Jalen Tyson might need to be like a difference in this game purely with like hustle and smarts.
Yeah, I mean, do the Bulls have a guy who like does all the dirty work? Not really.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess it's Isaac Okoro, maybe.
Jalen Tyson is the player that we wanted Isaac to be. Isaac just doesn't have enough of a mean streak in him. Like Jalen is crazy in a good way. I love him. He has multiple times just screamed at the basketball, the actual orange basketball on the court, just screaming at it, mad at the basketball. And I love it.
Like I think. Ideally, like Modest becomes that guy, but he has not been that guy. Like his numbers are okay this year, but he's definitely not been as good as I think me and a lot of other Bulls fans. And like Modest was getting some like national hype of coming into like he had a great preseason. He was looking so good, and I was like, oh, like this guy, like is he going to put up like 18, 19, 20 points per game, be like a most improved player candidate? And he's kind of just like rolling along here. He's averaging like 13 a game, like 13 and 5. Like every couple games, he's like an awesome dunk. Like he can dunk ferociously. But Billy has been pretty harsh with him, and he's been yanked him a couple times in like recent games, like playing like 24, 25 minutes a game, which is you just don't love to see it when like there was a lot of hype for him to take like a leap and become like you're like Modest is going to play 35 minutes a game. He's going to be closing every game. And that just has not been the case. And again, Billy is a lot of tough love there with him. It's just defensive mistakes, mental mistakes. There was a game against the Magic recently where they had a chance to win that game down the stretch, and Modest had a brutal technical foul. So just mental mistakes down the stretch. And so that's been kind of like ultimately like he has the skill set to be that kind of guy and that kind of like mentality, fearless mentality where he can do a lot of that stuff and be that kind of dirty work, do all that kind of stuff basically, but it's not there yet. He's got to get a lot stronger too still. So like, yeah, look up and down the roster. Like the Bulls have like Io can kind of be like that guy, but again, he's gonna be playing with no thumbs. So like, I don't know like how that's gonna go for him. And again, the Bulls just have so many guys. It's like, oh yeah, like he's like Zach Collins again. Zach Collins just came back. Jalen Smith was hurt. He came back. Like sometimes like they have good stretches together where they play double big sometimes with those two guys, or just double big in general. And they can sometimes do that kind of stuff, but like it's just there's no consistency with this stuff because they're just okay role players. And that's again, the Bulls are just made up of a lot of them. So yeah, like sometimes it works and like, oh, like, because that was like when they started the season so well, like, oh, like their depth, the Bulls have some of they go 10, 11 deep. They have, or even sometimes deeper than that. And they have all these players who like can be pretty good. But again, it looks great when they're all playing great, but when they're not, and when there's some injuries, it looks ugly and a team that just doesn't have a lot of like high-end talent. Yeah.
Last thing, and I guess I'll ask both of you about the team's respective arenas. I thought it was interesting. And Skylar, I'll start with you. Like first time this season, even with all the frustrations, the fans turned on the Cavs on Sunday, like loud, noticeable boos. When I was like, I was kind of, it's 100% warranted with the amount they've struggled. And when you lose the Hornets on your home floor and don't score a single point in overtime, and we have lackluster efforts, like, what'd you think of that? I mean, like, do you agree that you think it's warranted? Do you think it's going to get worse? I mean, what do you think of the home crowd finally turning on the Cavs?
I mean, I think some bit of it is warranted, but like if you zoom out a little bit, they're still 15-12. They're still a winning record. It'd be different if they had the Bulls record with all the Cavs expectations. You know what I mean? So I do think it's a little bit warranted. And Donovan Mitchell mentioned like, yeah, I'd boo us too. Like,
yeah.
So I think it's fine, but also like lived with a ton of worse Cavs teams, lived with a ton of worse just professional sports teams in general. It's far from the bottom. It's just not quite to the top where we expected.
Yeah. I don't want to kind of ask you a similar thing. What is the mood at the United Center as someone who's going to go there for the first time this season tomorrow night, Jason? Like, is the team, are the fans actively mad and booing the team? Is it just kind of like silence? Like, what's going
I think
on
it's
there right now?
kind of dead. Like Ricky was at which game was he at recently? Was it the Warriors game? I can't remember which one he was recently at, but I think it's just kind of dead. I think we're getting to like apathy point. Like, sure, there's gonna be some booing here and there, but I think a lot of fans are just kind of like, I mean, here we go again. Like again, they've just been so mid for a long time now, and like, and again, the place was rocking to start the year. Like when they were playing so good, like people were fired up. Like, oh my god, like the Bulls are gonna be good. But since then, and some of the losses have just been so like dispiriting. And when you keep losing these bad teams too, it's just like, yeah, like there's gonna be some boos, but then there's also just kind of like, yeah, some of the apathy setting in, just kind of a more dead atmosphere. I know Joe Cowley in the Sun Times today wrote about like empty suites, and like, is that going to maybe cause the Reinsdorfs to actually do something? It's like, oh, we got some empty seats and empty suites, and people just aren't showing up and like and bringing their money to the table. Like, is that going to actually force them to make a change? Because again, if the fans tune out, that's kind of what forced the last regime change. That was 2020 All-Star game when that was in Chicago right before COVID hit. Because I was there, and like there was like a fire Garpax chant on like, it's like Zach LaVine was on like First Take or something, whatever, one of the shows like on ESPN shows, and like fans were there like chanting fire Garpax. And again, that year was just another like dead year for the Bulls, and like the attendance was like way down. It was usually the attendance is very good at the United Center, like no matter what, but like that year it was down, even like before COVID stuff. There was the fire Garpax stuff, so like that it like all came to a head then. So like if this kind of thing keeps happening, where the fans actually stop coming, because again, fans not going to the United Center and like Bulls empty seats is usually just such a shock. Like that could like spur the front ownership into action. So yeah, right now, like I know like the group of like Bulls fans that I talk to all the time, like there is just a lot of like why do I care at this point? Like we should just tank the rest of the season. But front office won't want to do that. So like they're trying to win games. We know that was their goal coming into the year. They wanted to take a step, and like right now they do not look like a team that can do that. So if they keep just kind of meandering along like this, like there's definitely going to be a lot of just apathy. Which is like the worst thing about it. I'd rather have fans booing than fans just be apathetic and just be totally dead a dead arena.
I will say there's like a very stark difference between these two teams. Like Bulls fans are mad at the front office and ownership, where Cavs fans are actually mad at the team. Like,
a little bit of the coaching staff, but primarily the players.
And there are plenty of fans who are probably like, "Why is Billy Donovan still here?" And like that, I mean.
Right.
A fair question, because like AK and Billy have like the second or third longest tenured like front office coach duo.
Wild.
Why? Like they've won one playoff game since like they came together in 2020. Like it's absolutely nuts. But again, Bulls ownership does not like firing people. They're loyal to a fault, and they're cheap, and they don't make moves. Like so, like these guys are still here. So, and a lot of fans again blame it. I mean, a lot of fans we know like blame it on the coach. Again, I think Billy's a good coach. He did well last season to like overhaul their style. Again, the start of this year, he did really well to get them playing well. But I think now we're just kind of seeing the lack of overall talent on the roster, and just the poor drafting that's happened over in recent years and that kind of stuff. And we're left with this. And again, Billy has been very vocal about saying that they're not very talented, which is really funny to hear a coach say that when him and AK have allegedly been on such a same page. So. And fans just at this point, like we've seen this song and dance now for basically this entire front office regime, and you get sick of it, and it's like why keep paying attention to them? And that's when the apathy sets in.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I hope we did a good job of getting everybody excited for these next two.
I mean, it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. I mean, for a Cavs team that like needs like to turn things around here, like. The way the Bulls are playing, like the Cavs should like take care of business, but again, like the way they've been playing, they've been not very, very good. And like the Bulls, like they have their moments, and like if you do struggle to stop, if you're not ready to play their style, like they can cause some trouble with the fast pace. So, like it will be interesting to see like if the Cavs are ready for that. If they are though, and they do bring it, and they bring the right energy, and they at least I guess shoot maybe a little better from three, like. They should beat the Bulls and possibly beat them handily. I mean, maybe the Bulls shoot better than they've been, but I think it'll be very interesting. I get two teams that are huge difference expectations, but now just both really disappointing, and both that are like really searching for wins. Like maybe there will be a bit of desperation there, and we see some good games here.
I hope you're right. I certainly do, because I fear it's going to be like an 89-89 tie both games. I don't even know how that'd be possible, but that's what I think. All right, well, we'll get to our wrap up, and I apologize if I didn't preface this. So if you think of something on the spot, great. If not, don't worry about it. But we end each show this show of the week with put one nice thing on the internet, because we tend to say a lot of negative things to put on the internet. So I'm a big believer, if you're going to say something negative, you got to say something positive too. So I can go ahead and start, Skylar. I wanted to give a shout out to everyone that is truly in the holiday spirit and showing people, a lot of kindness and everything. We traveled back to Nashville, where we moved from a little over a year ago. We had a bunch of friends there that all made time with us, even though we were only there like 36 hours, which right in the middle of Christmas season, which I really appreciated. I saw, without getting into specifics, like people in the service industry, like our flight attendants, somebody at a restaurant going over and above to like try and give a good experience to us. And it's just like, see like more, I saw a lot of kindness, and you don't see a lot of kindness, and just people being, I think, swept up in the holiday spirit. I think the world, the country, everyone, me, needs it. So shout out to everybody who is showing grace, showing kindness, as I said, and frankly helping other people really enjoy the holidays, because you should enjoy the holidays, and it's sometimes you don't. So Skylar, you got anything?
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out to postal workers, UPS drivers, whatever it is, because this is the worst time of the year for those people. And then on top of any type of weather. So we just had a huge snow come through here in Ohio. And, the old saying, rain, snow, sleet, or shine, they're out there. So big shout out to them for really, honestly, probably making a few families' holidays as we get closer to the Christmas season, and all commerce is online now. So big shout out to those that fret the elements to bring, as Kevin said, holiday to a lot of people.
No, that's really good. You got anything nice to say, Jason? Anything?
I mean, I could keep it the holiday spirit thing. I kind of wanted to go there. Like I could go with like retail workers. I used to work in retail, and like the retail, like I was at a mall today picking up something, a gift, a holiday gift. It was a Bears hat. I'm going to say shout out to the Bears too. 10-4, first in the NFC North. Love it. But yeah, I used to work in retail. My wife did too. She still does, but not in stores anymore. But obviously, similarly, like the postal workers, retail season and the holiday is crazy. I know they deal with a bunch of just a-hole customers and all that kind of stuff. Like I used to deal with it, and I know how hard it can be. You see it when malls are crazy. I know a lot of stuff is online, but still, the mall was crazy today when I went. So like it can be pretty wild. So shout out to all them for dealing with crazy holiday season. I know it can be tough, and it's great. So yeah, so I got a couple of shout outs in there.
No,
retail and the Bears.
Which mall's here? Woodfield? Where are you going?
I usually go to Woodfield. I went to Old Orchard today. I ordered something from Raleigh House in Woodfield. They didn't have it, so I had to go to Old Orchard instead. So it's like both like 20 minutes like either way for me, so it wasn't a huge deal. But it was packed when I went. So
yeah, no, you'd be surprised. As much online shopping, I still think like with Christmas, and stuff. It's still personal. It feels more personal to actually go out and get a gift, and like you're actually putting in a little bit of effort. Your body, except for your thumbs, don't put any effort to buy something on Amazon. So I still think there's I
love going to Woodfield Mall. Shopping. Like Woodfield's the one I usually go to. I love going to Woodfield. It's every time I've gone, like in the last couple of years, like it's always very crowded. So it is cool.
Nah, it's a good spot.
Shout out to all those people who could Woodfield Mall, Old Orchard, all the malls all across the country, and every other retail place.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, thank you so much again. Anybody, Bulls fan or Cavs fan, go listen to Cash Considerations. They don't listen to it with your kids in the car, at least the most recent episode. But it is a lot of fun and a lot of good information about the Bulls and basketball in general. So thanks again, Jason. And as we sign off, please do all the things. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcast, YouTube, 5-star ratings. We appreciate all that. Juice the ratings, like, unfollow us and follow us again. That helps. We like cheating the system. So for Jason Patt and Cast Considerations, for Skylar Webker, I am Kevin Lynch. Thank you for joining us. And as always,
Go Cavs.